We need to talk about the true story of what happened between Donald Trump and Tim Walz. And Donald Trump is not afraid of spilling the beans. And it seems that Jacob Frey, the mayor of Minneapolis, did not agree with what Trump said. And that is not looking good for Frey. But anyway, Trump exposes Tim Walz and Mayor Frey groveling on the phone, begging, "How do we do something, please?" Not a retreat, Trump says. It's bad for them, not us. So ICE is fully active on Minnesota streets right now. Now, the White House shared there's very easy instructions, very easy steps for not only Minneapolis, not only for Minnesota, for every other city and state in the United States to follow these very simple instructions. Number one, turn over all incarcerated or active warrant criminal illegal aliens for immediate deportation. That would make things so much easier. Number two, transfer all criminal illegal aliens arrested by state and local police. Number three, assist federal authorities in detaining criminal illegal aliens wanted for crimes. And number four, Democrats must work with the federal government in the rapid removal of all criminal illegal aliens. It's that simple. And the chaos. Yeah, people should be invested on this. Oh no, you have people crying over all this stuff, but Trump is not afraid of saying things that the way they are.
And what they did to get down the cost, they made it shorter, so it doesn't go to San Francisco.
You saw what he said, right? He's claiming victory in Minnesota, by the way. He has posted that you have retreated in Minnesota, Governor Gavin Newsom, and he is encouraging people to keep the pressure up.
See, I haven't heard that at all, because it's just the opposite. I was called by the governor yesterday. I was called by the mayor yesterday. How do we do something? Please, how do we do something? I think it's bad for them. I don't think it's bad for us. I think it's bad for them.
Yeah, you'll have to see what Governor
But it's not
Newsom
a question
posted.
of retreat. We want safe cities. Whether it's if we took a lot of the crime out of there. We want safe cities and states. We want a safe country. And again, we just got a report done by Democrats that the country is the safest ever recorded. Right now.
So if Democrats are saying this, well, I guess that is a win for Trump. I guess it is. Big shout out to Gary Melton from Paramount Tactical. Tim Walz doing the right thing? Is that happening? Because there were anti-ICE protesters surrounding Tim Walz's office because, they are, how can you cave to Trump? How can you do that? Then Gary says, you know what? I'm just going to say that I'm glad that Tim Walz, perhaps for the first time ever, did the right thing. It appears for now he's putting people's safety above politics despite his constituents being unhappy about it. If he continues to cooperate with the Trump administration, my hat's off to him. He needs to be investigated for fraud, but let's address that next week and for now give him kudos for this one good decision. It will likely save lives. We have to say the things the way they are, and I agree with Gary's take. Also, Donald Trump, all is not roses. It's not that easy with these morons, because surprisingly, Mayor Jacob Frey just stated that Minneapolis does not and will not enforce federal immigration laws. I said that on yesterday's show. You remember that we were over all those tweets, and okay, he said that in a post to make sure that everybody read that and said that they were not going to comply. So Trump says this is after having had a very good conversation with him. Could somebody in his inner sanctum please explain that this statement is a very serious violation of the law and that he is playing with fire? Playing with fire. Oh, yeah. And even if Tim Walz is doing the right thing, he had to go with this interview saying that, well, he could beat the shit out of J.D. Vance if he could. I think that is the appropriate sentence. What did he say, in fact?
I would beat the shit out of him now if I could, and I would call that out. I mean, that's just different. In verbally going at it, my argument is much better. In making the case that housing prices are up because of immigration and that we should build on federal lands, it was such a crazy thing. But then when I watched him, I got sucked into that. And if you remember, this was right in that moment of eating dogs and cats. I took that bait and thought that was the argument of how outrageous it was. That was not the argument.
And he said that your cops are liars. He said that the
Yeah,
ICE agents aren't.
They all did. That's exactly right, that this is the problem with them. And well, the president said it, that we told them to stand down. Do you think they would do that? Do you think that police would not protect citizens, no matter if I'm like, oh, don't do this? But yes. I don't
know. Have you heard of corrupt police departments? Because I have heard about them and they say that every single cop is corrupt. That is asinine. But yeah, you can have systemic corruption in police departments and, of course, cooperating with corrupt governments. Especially if you're a government, and the city of Minneapolis government is being investigated for fraud. And also, we have Governor Shapiro throws the Biden-Harris administration under the bus. This was interesting, because you know that they had this power over the border, and you remember that he was like in the first in line to be Kamala's running mate, and it was Tim Walz, the one chosen at the end. In the end. So this was interesting.
The Biden-Harris administration didn't provide those specific, tangible things that people could see or feel. I'll give you a very specific, concrete example. One of the biggest things holding back our rural communities is a lack of high-speed, affordable internet. Some people call that broadband. I've got 246,000 homes and businesses without it.
Have you asked Elon Musk, you want high-speed internet in rural areas? Elon Musk could help with Starlink.
I was incredibly proud of President Biden when they got that infrastructure bill passed to provide the billions of dollars that were needed to plug everybody in, connect everybody in Pennsylvania. And do you know how many people, Scott, this many years later, have been connected to high-speed, affordable internet thanks to President Biden's law in Pennsylvania? 0.
Okay, that was so satisfying. That was, the body language, the pause, the everything. That was so satisfying to watch. These people are eating each other alive, and there are some unhinged. We are on this immigration, fog of war, everything happening at the same time. And we have Hakeem Jeffries saying that people who attack ICE are patriotic Americans. Is this really a thing?
Kristi Noem is a despicable, corrupt, pathological liar. We've seen her slander not just one, but 2 American citizens, patriotic Americans who were killed without justification on the streets of Minneapolis in the last few weeks. She's deeply unqualified. She never should have been confirmed to begin with by Senate Republicans, and House Democrats have called for her to be fired immediately. And in the event that she is not terminated, we are prepared to initiate impeachment proceedings against her in the House of Representatives.
Okay, that was so. I want to say one thing about Hakeem Jeffries. One thing that the United States needs desperately, I don't know if the Department of Education has been pretty much useless, should handle this, is that children and teens need urgent classes on physiognomy. I mean, if more Americans were aware of physiognomy, nobody would vote. Once you see a face like this, you know that you should not vote for this guy. You immediately know that. But again, it's something that people say, oh, that is a pseudoscience. No, you know. If you know instantly. Okay, I could skip this one. I want to go to this as another clip here that I wanted to show you. A clip of Tom Homan hits the MSNBC with a reality check. You're using the term disappearing people. It's disgusting. No, laws are being enforced. This is the thing, how you frame ideas, how you frame actions. If you frame actions as disappearing people, of course, some people that don't go past the headline are going to be upset.
I see on the show this morning you have Governor Healy talking about ICE doing enforcement operations at a church. Mm-hmm. False. Didn't happen.
They were parked there. They did not do an operation there. She said they were parked in a public space legally.
But to say that and to push that out there puts fear in the immigrant community. So let me tell you what's happening.
To do that puts fear in the community. Right. To park the ICE agent's vehicle
They're on a
near
public
a church.
street.
They
They're
are
on a public street.
She said
They're on a public street
sir.
waiting to respond to a criminal alien release pulled aside the road. Let me tell you, in the last couple of days, what's happened in Boston. They've arrested Victor Gomez Perez, a 33-year-old criminal alien from Guatemala, with charges of aggravated rape, assault and battery with dangerous weapon, indecent assault and battery on a victim 14 years or younger. They arrested Kaylee Espinosa, a 34-year-old criminal alien from Colombia, with charges of aggravated assault on a pregnant victim. They arrested Joshua Gonzalez, a 24-year-old criminal alien from Dominican Republic, with charges for trafficking heroin, morphine, opium, resisting police.
This is like that list that Trump had on his one of his latest press conferences, in which he was addressing the fact that that he is has this list of criminals that are literally off the street. That they're no longer in the United States, thanks that they have been deported. They are actual criminals. That should be the focus, and that's why we. I guess that's why the White House gave those 4 guidelines, very easy guidelines, and we don't understand why so many people were okay with deportations under Clinton, under Obama. And maybe I can play this clip.
You do not want any people going out and getting in the middle of active law enforcement situations. That is a recipe for chaos.
Common sense.
And it is a recipe for heartbreak and tragedy, and we have now seen it twice in Minnesota. They need to stay on message here with what the president is trying to do. He's simply trying to enforce federal immigration law, just like every other president before him has done. In fact, President Paul Begala knows well, Bill Clinton said, we won't tolerate immigration by people whose first act is to break the law as they enter our country. The presidents that have come before Donald Trump have all done this. In fact, Barack Obama gave Tom Homan a medal for deporting people. So right now, in terms of messaging, I'd say stick to the facts, dump the hyperbole, and stick to what every other president that's come before you has done. Talk about the need to enforce immigration law, and talk about the fact that a state, even a blue state, cannot exist in a state of secession from the federal government or federal laws.
Yeah, this is basically common sense, but you know how these people are common sense. They're not going with the common sense. They're going with feelings and how they feel about, criminals, and how they feel about Trump and Trump derangement syndrome. Trump cannot be winning. And yes, now they hate Tom Homan for some reason when he was, he has always been great, but it depends on the administration, I guess, that if you have these filters, these color filters on top of reality, and the idea is to be able to see past those filters and see the truth for what it is. And that's what we do right here in the Battle Language Guy channel, and this is going to be on my Power Pundit channel. Remember that I have a channel dedicated to American politics, and this section is going to go in there after this live stream. But I would love to know what do you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Power Pundit. Much love and bliss.